Announced ministerial nominees to face appointment committee of parliament today. We've got details of these stories coming up shortly, but first let's remind you of our affiliate stations across the country.
Starr News is coming to you live on Ultimate 106.9 FM in Kumasi, Empire 102.7 FM in Takrady, Zeps 95.9 FM in Zebila, Nissim 100.1 FM in Lamshao, MyStar Radio in the USA. Also live on Facebook on Starr 103.5 FM and on starfm.com.gh around the world. This is Starr 103.5 FM. Starr News. Informed, in depth, in touch.
Many thanks to you for choosing Starr News. I am Nurein Abass. Now, government has ordered investigations into the killings of 8 small-scale miners during a confrontation with military men providing security for Anglo Gold Ashanti. Several youth in the community were also injured during the scuffle. According to reports, the irate small-scale miners attempted breaching the fence of the mining company. Here are details of a statement signed by acting spokesperson of the President Secretary Felix Ofosu-Kwakye.
Government wishes to express deep regret over the tragic loss of up to 8 lives said to be illegal miners following a violent clash at a mining site in Obuasi. In response to the unfortunate incident, President John Dramani Mahama has ordered an immediate investigation to determine the circumstances surrounding the clashes and ensure that any individuals found to have acted unlawfully are brought to justice. Government has, meanwhile, asked the management of Anglo Gold Ashanti to bear the medical expenses of the injured individuals fully and to facilitate the burial arrangements of those who have lost their lives. The security agencies have also been tasked to take prompt action to restore peace in the area and implement measures to prevent similar occurrences.
You had excerpt of a statement signed by acting spokesperson for the President John Dramani Mahama, Felix Kwakye Ofosu. Still on decisions by government, President Mahama has appointed Professor Kwesi Prempeh, Executive Director of the Ghana Center for Democratic Development (CDD), as the chair of the newly formed 8-member Constitutional Review Committee. Other members of the committee include former chairperson of the Electoral Commission Charlotte Osei, retired Justice of the Supreme Court Justice Sophia, and former Executive Director of the Media Foundation for West Africa Professor Kwame Kakari. The rest are Executive Director of the Starr Ghana Foundation Ibrahim Tanko Amidu, a senior lecturer at the University of Ghana School of Law Dr. Gordon Jokoto, Executive Director of the Ashesi University Center for Leadership Dr. Esi Ansa, and legal practitioner Dr. Reina, who will serve as secretary. The committee has been assigned to address gaps and challenges in the implementation of previous constitutional reforms from 2020 and 2023. The committee is expected to present its recommendations for constitutional amendments within 5 months for consideration by the government. This is still the Starr Breakfast News. Now, the Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana is hopeful the recent impasse between them and government over failure to migrate them to the status of university lecturers will be resolved soon. Currently, academic and administrative activities in the 46 colleges of education have come to a complete halt following the declaration of strike by members of CTAC. The industrial action commenced on 2nd January this year over government's failure to implement an arbitration award to the association by the National Labour Commission in May 2023. Starr News understands the Controller and Accountant General's Department has commenced the migration process. Now, President of CTAC, Maxwell Bunu, has been speaking to Starr News on the back of this.
You also are aware that because of our strike, the non-teaching staff also indicated their intention to embark on strike. So that actually forced Prinkov, our immediate employers, to defer the reopening from 13 to 27. So as we speak, students are not supposed to come to college. So there's no problem actually with that. What we are looking forward to is to make sure that our concerns are resolved within this few days are left, so that come 27 we should be able to return to the lecture halls, and we are hopeful that the concerns will be addressed. We have indicated that we have gone through a lot of turbulent times, and we as leaders have become liars before our very colleagues. Because you go, we have shown a lot of goodwill, and they have promised you, and you come back and you happily report to your people that, oh, by so and so date, this issue will be resolved. The dates come and nothing happens. So our colleagues are no longer at this moment ready to listen to any promise. All that they are looking forward to is that money should be paid into their account.
You had President of CTAG, Maxwell Bunu. Now, the Appointments Committee of Parliament is expected to continue vetting ministerial nominees today. The committee, chaired by Akachi South MP and First Deputy Speaker Bernard Ahiafo, has already vetted the first set of ministerial nominees: Dr. Kesiel Atuforsin, Minister-Designate for Finance; John Abdullahi Yinapo, Minister-Designate for Energy; and Dr. Dominic Ayine, Attorney General and Minister-Designate for Justice. The committee will today vet Kwame Gavins Agboja, Minister-Designate for Roads and Highways; Haruna Idrisu, Minister-Designate for Education; and Eric Opoku, Minister-Designate for Food and Agriculture. We'll bring you live proceedings from today's ministerial vetting. Now, operators of printing presses in Accra, Newtown, have expressed enthusiasm for the adoption of nuclear power for electricity generation. According to them, the high cost of power significantly erodes their profit margins, hindering growth and expansion. Consequently, they are advocating the government to expedite the inclusion of nuclear power in the power generation mix to supplement hydro and thermal generation. Calvin Powell has more in this report.
Generating electricity using nuclear power involves harnessing the energy released from the splitting of atomic nuclei, a process known as nuclear fission. Nuclear power plants utilize enriched uranium-235 as fuel. When a neutron collides with a uranium atom, it causes the atom to split, releasing more neutrons and a substantial amount of energy. The released neutrons then collide with other uranium atoms, including a chain reaction of fission reactions. The energy released from the fission reactions heats up water, producing steam. The steam drives a turbine, which is connected to a generator. As the turbine spins, it drives the generator to produce electricity. The generated electricity is transmitted to the power grid and distributed to homes, businesses, and industries.
It's going to impact we the industry people very much, because currently we are spending so much on electricity. At home, it's something else, but in companies where we use so much machines, printing machines, digital, large formats and all that, they consume a lot. So if government should introduce this atomic power, I think it's going to cut down the cost of electricity that we use here.
The power is expensive now. You know, initially we were using the old meters, which the consumption was high, but it was a little better than the new ones they introduced recently. You know, initially we used to spend about 30 to 35 cedis a day, but since they bought the new ones, we spend about 70 to 100 cedis a day. I think approximately about 2,000 to 3,000 within the range. I think the government should push hard on it if it's going to make the price of electricity cheaper.
Kwame Jantua, chairman of the oil and gas sector of the Ghana Association of Industries, AGI, emphasized that affordable tariffs serve as a catalyst for industrial growth. He lamented the situation where industries such as the Volta Aluminium Company, Valco, cannot operate at full capacity due to unavailability of substantial power.
If Valco starts operating now, we are in doomsday. The quantum of energy Valco needs, I reckon, at this particular moment, where we have we don't have a challenge with, for the past few years, we haven't had a challenge with hydro. But the kind of power Valco needs, I can say it's only nuclear that can give that kind of power. Even our gold industry, our gold refinery, is it working? Do you know whether it's working?
In an interview, Benjamin Boachi, Chief Executive Officer of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, stressed that the government must sanitize the energy sector to avoid revenue leakage, boost investor confidence, and collaborate with the private sector to achieve reliable power generation for sustainable growth through the adoption of nuclear energy.
What is important for us to note is that the consumer is looking for power that is reliable and affordable. The way to achieve reliable power is to ensure that cost is controlled. And by controlling cost, you're interested in the contracts and negotiations and signings to make sure that the most optimal option is actually selected. Beyond that, then you can then look at what options also reduces cost. To be able to get a nuclear power plant, you really need to assure the investors that they'll be able to get their money back. So if your power system is not able to pay for the power that is sold now, it's difficult to convince any investor that when they put in all the billions that are required to put up a nuclear plant, they will get their money back.
Stakeholders in the nuclear energy sector are being urged to intensify education and awareness about safety protocols in nuclear power adoption for electricity generation and the numerous advantages associated with it.
And that brings us to the end of the breakfast news this morning. StarFM.com.gh has more news update when you log on there. I am Nurein Abass. Next we have the sports team with Sports Chat. Do have a great week.